Kyle, hey man, I'm sending you a piece to review. No, done deal. I already talked to your agent, cleared it, all good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You lift weights? Might want to start, man.
Alright, let's see what I'm reviewing. What the is this? Josh Ulfberht Jotunheim Slayer? This is not a sword. I signed up to review swords, not Conan wannabes. What do you mean you signed a contract? No! How could you do this to me? Hello, this is Kyle, also known as AlienTude, and today I am reviewing this sword by Josh von Ulfberht of Sterling Armory. This sword is known as Jotunheim Slayer, and you might be wondering, what the heck is this thing, right? Look at it. It's enormous. That's what she said. Yes, exactly. My thoughts exactly. But here we are. So during this review, I am going to be putting this sword through its paces, and it's going to make for, no. I am not doing this as a normal review. That. All right, Warbear, if that's even your real name, you win. You want me to review this thing? I'm going to review it. So, right up front, this is not a sword. This is a 13-pound monstrosity. It is not a sword because it cannot be used as a sword. If I move it out here, I can hold it up here by bracing my arms against my body, but I'm already struggling. And part of that is the fact that I am not particularly in shape. In fact, I'm wildly out of shape. But the majority of it is the fact that this thing is absurd. It is 13 pounds. There is almost no distal taper. I don't actually see any distal taper. There might be a little bit. There's a ton of weight all over this behemoth. And it can't really be used as a sword. So it's not a sword in my book. So what is it? Well, it's awesome is what it is. No, it's not a sword. But there is something about the primal brain of mine that says big sword equals awesome. And this thing is a big sword and therefore awesome, even if it isn't a sword. So, yeah, I can't really move it around. If I lift it up here, I could certainly drop it onto targets. In fact, I've done a tiny bit of that. But yeah, you can't really swing it without without worrying about throwing your back out or just completely spinning around with the weight that this thing brings to bear. But again, it's awesome. Just look at it. This looks like something straight out of Conan, but with a more Viking style to it. No, there's no such thing as two-handed Viking swords. No, there's no swords that have this overall size in history. But that doesn't mean it's not awesome. Now, I can't even begin to imagine the amount of effort that went into making this bar of steel. Think about this. This has a fuller in it. And the fuller is wide. And if you're, imagine trying to grind that with a over 13-pound object since he was grinding away steel, and there's a lot of steel that was ground down by the fuller. Imagine trying to keep that straight on a grinding wheel to make the line straight and even. That's got to have been exhausting. The fact that Warbear was able to do that and keep the lines pretty damn straight. They're not perfect, but pretty damn straight. That's some impressive dedication to the craft. I'm going to talk about a few other bits here. This grip is an interesting take on a grip. It's got a very thick cord wrap on here. I don't think there's any leather involved there. I think it's just cord over wood, and then it's got this leather overwrap and these cool little pins that are holding the leather wrap in. The pommel and crossguard are huge and chunky. I believe this pommel weighs over a pound itself, and it is peened. And the peen is huge, as you would expect for a sword this big. You couldn't get a small peen sword like this. And yes, I'm fully aware of how that sounds. So just picking it up and moving it around just for the point of this video is a workout. Let me tell you, you could use this as something of a workout device, but at the same time, it's just, you can't really work it out as a sword because, again, it's just got too much weight to it, and it's just not something that can be moved around with any degree of grace. Now, I didn't do any actual cutting with this sword thing, but I did drop it onto a piece of an old plywood desk that I have disassembled, and it definitely destroyed that piece. However, I can say at Valley of the Sun, Josh Warbear did cut with this sword on tatami. Let's see how that went. So Phoenix, it was nice knowing you. I'm sorry you had to be sacrificed to test this sword by Josh. So I want to drive home that this sword thing, pretend sword-like object, whatever you want to call it, it is awesome. It's not intended to be a real sword. Warbear knew right up front what he was doing with this. And it's something he likes to do, making some absurdly oversized swords. But I don't want to leave you with the impression that is all Josh makes. I own this sword that he made, and this could not be further from the Jotunheim Slayer. It is light, it is nimble, easy to move around. I am eventually going to review this sword, but my schedule is so packed that I don't know when I'll be getting around to it. But I specifically wanted this sword when he showed it at Combat Con last year before. It's been a while. And I did finally get ownership of it in 2023, and it is a beauty. It handles properly. Josh knows what he's doing, and there's a lot of intention to his work and a lot of craftsmanship in his work. So don't judge him just by the absurdity of the Jotunheim Slayer. Take a look at his more traditional swords, and I think you'll come away impressed. And with that, let's bring this review to a close. Josh, I hope you're happy with yourself.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. This sword, heavy, whatever, man. This sword is perfectly wieldable. for the mighty.